All right, so good morning. I'm going to go over some APA style citation this morning real quick. And I'm going to be sharing this out to all sections. And so everyone will have access to this. There's also a PDF that I will be downloading into Canvas to kind of give you a little bit of extra support for it. It's found in the in Santa Fe's library. So it's something that you have access to, but I'm going to go ahead and download that PDF for you and also give you the links to where the APA style citation is at in the library. So I'm going to real quick share a screen here. And this is the PDF that I was talking about. I will be downloading it. So I'm going to zoom in real quick so we can kind of look at this first one. And we're going to look at a journal article, how to cite from a journal article. So this is kind of the, if you get anything from a periodical, it's going to be a similar way that you do this. So when you're typing it out, and I'm going to show you a shortcut if you're using Word to help with this, but when you're typing it out, you invert the name so the last name comes first. All right, so you always put the author's last name, then their initials after a comma, then a comma, then and. That will get you ready for the next author. If there's more than one, if there's only one, then of course you'd only have the one listed. Then the year that it was published, and then the title of the article. And this is where a lot of students can get tripped up on APA. I don't grade these quite as stickler. I want to see this setup, but I'm not going to, if you forget the rule that goes with the title of the article or title of the book, I'm not going to take points off as long as you have that title in there. But the rule for APA for the title of a book is that only the first letter of the first word is capitalized. Or if there's a two-part title, the first word of the second part will also be capitalized, and any proper nouns, of course. Make sure you do not italicize, and it ends with a period. After each section, there's a period. After the year, you have a period. After the title of the article, there's a period. Then the name of the periodical that it comes from. So you capitalize all the major words in the name of the periodical. This is italicized, but not the comma. You italicize the name, but not the comma. All right. Then the volume. In a journal article, you'll have a volume, you have an issue number, and then you'll have page numbers. Sometimes you may not have an issue number. It could just be the spring volume, and there may not have an issue number with it. So it's okay. You just go ahead and put a comma after volume and go to the page numbers. So your page numbers are helpful so that when you do your inline citations, you can pull from here. And if the article has a DOI, normally or DOI, this is going to be, sometimes it's listed at every page on the bottom. Other times it may be when you pull it up from the library resource, you'll see that. But that's the basic setup. And like I said, I'm going to share this into Canvas so that you all have access to it and you can go back and reference it as you need. It may be wise to download this for future classes of future reference. If we're doing a book and we're going to cite a book, many of the same rules apply. The authors will be last name, then comma, and then the initials, a comma, then the next author if there's more than one. The year will be the copyright year, the most recent copyright year on the book, the title of the book. This is italicized, but once again, only the first word, the first letter of the first word is capitalized. And if it's two-part, you do the same thing as we did with the article, and also any proper nouns will be capitalized. And then in parentheses outside of that, or after that, you'll put the addition. So if you're going to be using the book from the course, you would put in the title, and then it would be 15th edition outside of that. And then, of course, that ends with a period. And once again, remember there's a period after each one of these. The publisher, in this case, you would find the publisher, put that there, and then a DOI or URL if there is one available. So that and you're using an ebook, so there would be a URL or something available for you to put in this sense. Now, if you're using a chapter, you're going to follow the rules for the chapter, what page numbers you're using out of it, the title of the chapter of that book, if you're just quoting from the one chapter. I've always tended to just use the book as a whole, just because there's extra steps in here. But if it's an edited book that has been changed in some way, then you may need to use this so you can get all the information in. All right, so that's real quick on just this is what your references will look like at the end. All right, so I'm going to step out of this and stop sharing real quick. All right, and once again, go back to the share. We're going to look at a Word document. I have just a blank Word document here, and I am going to just type in my name. All right, now I can go to references. And under the reference tab, you have insert citation, manage sources, the style, and the bibliography. Okay, so the style, if you're for some reason using one that is not APA, there are a lot of different ones here. You have Turabian, you have MLA, you have Chicago. Which is one that is common in some further up you go in school, you may run into that. But APA is going to be pretty much, it's going to be the most common that you'll use. All right, so under managing sources, you'll see I have a bunch here from different papers I've written and different research that I've done. You have a lot of those. So let's say that I'm using Meta as my source here, or let's do a new source. So I want to do a new source, and I'm going to say a book, and I'm going to get the book that we're using for. I have that one in my bag. So we're going to look at learning contracts. All right, so the book is going to be learning contracts. All right, so it is a book that we're looking at, not a book section, but a book. All right, the author of the book is Jack Graves. Now, when I fill this in, I want to put Graves in first. Remember, it's the first name last and last name first. All right, the title. The year. Now, remember, for the year, I need to find the most recent copyright in this. And I'm sure you know where to find the copyright for most books. There is a page that has all your information, the copyright, the edition of the book. But the most recent copyright for this one is 2019. So it was a brand new book when I used it. And if you'll check this box where it has show all bibliography fields, this will allow you to put in publisher if you need to. This will allow you to put in the volume or the edition. Remember to put the edition if it is not the first edition. So you'll want to put second in there. All right, if you have a URL or DOI, this is where you put it in at. You can put the city that it was in. Those are the recommended ones. The publisher for this one is West Academic. All right, so that is in there. And we won't worry about the city for this one. Okay, we're just going to stick with the basics. And I click OK. Now that is saved over here, and it's going to be over here. So if I want to use that one, after my name, I'll go to insert citation and see it puts Graves 2019. And this is how an inline citation should look. Now, if I do something like this, Graves wrote in Learning Contracts, and I quote something that he wrote in here, then I would want to do the citation again. I'm going to insert it, but I'm going to need to make some changes. All right, and I do that by going to Edit Citation, and then I'm going to suppress the author, and I want the year to be there. And it's good to have the page number where that is at. So maybe it was page number 128. All right, so now it's Learning Contracts, and I can even go a little bit further here. I don't necessarily need the title there. So in 2009, his book from 2019, Learning Contracts, see the name of the book is there. It's Graves. So we have the author's name and the book name, but we still need something to tie it into our references when we get to the references at the bottom. So we would put the year that it was published and a page number. Okay. And then when we get done, and always do this, I go to insert, and you're going to insert that page break. And your references should always be on a page by themselves. It's good to insert a page break so that you make sure that you have a good one. And you can put references or works cited. Professors will sometimes have a preference on which one of these you use. As long as it is either references or works cited from my class, you're fine. And you'll see that this is in there in the way that we had talked about it. Graves J, 2019, the year. And we're keeping those rules in play that we talked about when we're looking at the PDF. Last name, comma, initial, period. The year in parentheses, then a period. Learning Contracts. Remember, this is a book. So the title is going to be italicized. Now, if you'll notice, there's something wrong with this. And this is something I messed up on. All right. So we need to go back and look. Why is this printing the way it is? Now, we could simply just lowercase that C, but if we go to our sources and we click on this source and we want to edit it, okay, so we're going to edit it by doing this. Remember, lowercase after the first word. So contracts in that sense should be lowercase. And yes, we want to change it for the whole document. And we come back to this and we're going to update it, and it instantly puts that in a lowercase. All right, so now our reference looks pretty good. All right, so there's information that can still be in this, but for the purposes of you writing for my class, I just wanted you to kind of understand the basics here. All right, so in this one we have Graves. Now, if we, did one where we needed, if we wanted to say Graves wrote and we have not previously entered anything about Graves and his information in this, we could then go insert and once again edit this. And we're going to just suppress the author, but we're going to leave the title. Okay, so that would be Learning Contracts 2019. So that's kind of a quick rundown of how you can use this on Word. Right, so that is it's going to give you the steps. When you go to manage sources and you say you're building your options are a book, you have the journal article here, an article in a periodical. That's an article in a magazine or something on those lines. Then if you're pulling from a website or a document from a website, if it's an electronic source, any of those things. For some of your classes, you may use some of these others. All right, so just spend some time looking at it and getting used to it, and it will help you tremendously as you move forward. All right, so I'm going to stop the share on this, and we're going to go look at how I got to this screen, okay? I want to walk you through it. So I'm going to close this out and start over like we just signed on to the Santa Fe website. So this is what you see when you sign on. Under student resources, most of you probably know how to get to the library, but under student resources, go to library. All right, and when you're in library, go to guides down here, okay? Learn or library how-to guides. If you'll notice, APA is mentioned in the description, so automatically go to that. And then you go to your APA citation guide. All right, and it's going to pull this up for you. It's going to mention the publication manual, which is a good book to have. It gives you some links to APA style and grammar guidelines. There's a blog, and that quick reference PDF is right here. If you click on this, it's going to give you some different ways to do stuff. All right, so it's going to talk about in-text citation. It's going to talk about paraphrasing and how you use it, mechanics of style, and how those things are used. All right, so there's a lot of good information there. Go through it. It will help you tremendously in this class and in your other classes where you have to use APA style. All right, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because there is still a lecture to come out this week, but I wanted to kind of do a quick maybe refresh for some of you, maybe a first-time introduction to APA. I have had some students that say they have not used it, or at least not used it enough to have a good grasp of it. And so with that being said, and going over this, the case study number 2. All right, so a lot of you have turned in case study number 2. I'm going to give everyone the option to go back and look at it if you need to adjust your citations. So look at what you've submitted. And if you need to adjust the citations, you can do a second submission. I'll remove one of the submissions. Send me a note saying that if you have difficulty doing that, send me a note saying that you've submitted a second one. So I can kind of look over that for you. And I won't grade those until everyone has had a chance. So I'm extending out the date, probably up until I'm going to look at it. Right now I have it till the 25th. I will likely extend it up until the 29th, which will be right before time for midterms. I want you to have all that in before the midterm so that you're not thinking about anything but getting studying for the midterm for that. So I don't want to have assignments hanging over your head while you're working on the midterm. Let's get everything turned in prior to the midterm and then go. So I'm going to extend that out and post the that quick reference and post a link to the library in Canvas so that you can have some access to go into it. The link will take you right to the APA page that I post. All right, so until next time, I hope that helps. If you have any questions about it, if it's still just completely, it's just not getting there for you, that's fine. Learning Commons has a lot of help with it. You can go through them. For those of you that it's harder for you to get to campus, if you have the stuff on Santa Fe that you can work through, and it works through fairly easy. There's also Purdue OWL. It's Purdue, the university, and OWL, which is their online writing lab. So you have a lot of different sources you can use. But if you have any questions, just please send it to me. If you have a question about a citation, send me what you think the citation should look like, and I can respond back with it and kind of look at it and see if there's something that needs fixed there. All right. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you in the next video.